I'm dying early. All right, we are live here at the pregame. Here is the Sixers Kings pregame show. We have Larry Houston here on the show. And sorry, guys, my Wi-Fi is a little messed up. We got Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, we're fine. We're on.
All right. Sorry about that. Blue, real quick, give us your take on the A&M Miami game before we get into some key plays, some key key games, keys to the game, and of course give some other information, some latest news out of Texas A&M and Miami as well.
Well, definitely, Jazz, and I know everybody, a lot of people have been hitting me up for the last hour asking when we were going to be on because this is a game that everybody's getting into. They're really interested in whether they're on location like you or, at home and having a great time. This is a game that everybody understands that for Miami to come out on top, they have to limit mistakes. They have to put drives together. They have to run the ball. And the one thing is you'll never completely take a crowd like that out, unless you get up 28-0. So you have to kind of blank out the crowd, which I think they'll do. They just have to, early on, the jitters are going to be there, but they're going to be on there for both sides. Remember, A&M's coming off a loss to App State last week, and the fans have been, you check out the media in College Station around the Houston area all week, and it wasn't such a favorable picture. A lot of people expected out of the gate that this is a team that would establish itself as a Final Four type of team. They figured that this is the year that they have enough depth. They have enough frontline players to compete for a title. So you can imagine how angry and how disappointed the fans were last week because, as we said before, Jazz, that in reality, this A&M team is two years ahead of Miami because they've had a running start under Fisher. Mario just got here, and obviously, Mario just got here, and he took over a program that kind of was in disarray. I mean, there were some moving parts that were still there, but this is a game where you always say that you can't give A&M already has a major advantage in this game. They're at home. They have experience. They have depth at a lot of positions, and they got that crowd. So you don't want to give them any additional things by putting the ball on the ground or throwing an interception early. It'll give them momentum. And I think the biggest key of the game is to play within yourself. And it's easy to say for you and I to sit back here and, and not be there and not be on the field and having to perform. But they've worked hard enough for this. And I'm sure that, you look at Coach Cristobal, and I think he prepared them for this spotlight. I mean, he understands, he knows what type of talent that he has, and in reality may not match up man for man. But this is a football program that really, in the short time that Coach Cristobal has been there, is disciplined, understands what they can do, will take what is given to them. And they can't come out like they did against Southern Mississippi. You and I watched that. Too many things really didn't go right for them. If they have 3 and out, so be it. But, you have to rely on the special teams. Borregales is going to be huge. Obviously, the punting game is going to be huge. So the key thing is Miami cannot make mistakes. They can't give Texas A&M any more advantage than they have. You there? I guess he froze. So we'll wait to get Jazz back. But to me, that's a key. You take a look at this, and we've read all the stuff all week long. We've had an opportunity. Jazz, you're back with us. I guess he's coming back. I guess he'll speak. But we read everything building up to this game. We've gone over the matchups over and over again. Now it's time to play. I mean, we're about 40 minutes away from kickoff. It's a late kickoff. Obviously, it would be like Miami playing on the West Coast, being at 9 o'clock. But you know what? I think that the fan support, I've looked at the internet over the last couple of days and social media, and there's been a lot of people that made the trip out and a lot of enthusiastic people. And, I mean, you just got to get in that situation where you come out and you play your game. Defensively, Miami has a speed. The experience sometimes kind of bothers you. They can't give up big plays. They have to. Their corners have to come up and it kind of, I think, take charge in the game and then not let the A&M experience get to them. I know they're going to try to run the ball. They have a really good running back, and I think that they. Their key to their game is just ball control. Are you with us? I think he froze again. But like I said, I mean, you take a look at all the games that are being played around the country, and there's a lot of games that should be runaways that aren't, close games, near upsets, and that's what Miami has to bank on. They have to bank on the fact that they have a more experienced quarterback than A&M. They have quite a few football players that, have been in the spotlight, been in big games before, transferring from other schools. And then they have players who return. You have a guy like Corey Flagg, who's from the Houston area. Obviously, he's going to have a lot of support there. And then the other thing I think is really, really key is the fact that you have an opportunity to have a lot of recruits and this is a good game for recruiting. And I think that's important. When you take into consideration, you have an opportunity to impress some people and not just, on television nationally where this is going to be huge. Hey, what's up? Look who's here, Vish. He's live. Actually,
are we all on? Can we all hear each other?
Yeah.
I don't think you can hear me.
We can hear you. We can hear you, man. That's great.
I can't hear shit, but we're going to win.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's a beauty right there. Can you guys hear me okay now?
All right, I'm out. I can't hear anything.
Okay, Vish. Enjoy.
On Monday.
All right, buddy. I can hear you fine, Jazz. Go ahead.
I'm back. As you can see, I'm here in the CMX Brickle for a watch party, and the Wi-Fi is absolutely terrible here. But Blue, I love everything you're saying. Here's the question that I posed for you, and I think for everybody right now. Texas A&M comes off of a disappointing loss to App State, and we all saw that App State final there against Troy. That was absolutely crazy. So, App State, not a terrible team, but not the greatest team, right? You saw Texas A&M struggle with them. Now they're going to make a switch. Texas A&M is going to make a switch from Haynes King at quarterback to Max Johnson. Different quarterback, not as mobile, more of a statuesque type of guy, but he has a great arm, has great accuracy. We saw his numbers last year at LSU. Coincidentally, the last team that he played was Texas A&M, threw for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns against them. So now you got him coming in. However, this may be a better matchup for Miami front 4, front 7, right, to get some pressure on him, move him out of the pocket, make him make different throws. We obviously have some other issues and some other breaking news that we want to talk to you about. But what type, now that Texas A&M is making the switch over to Max Johnson, what type of threat does he pose, and is there an advantage for the Miami Hurricane defense as well with him now starting at quarterback?
I think you see more of the running game featured, because that's an established part of their game and a game that at this point going in is safe enough where they kind of establish that running game. Then they can open things up, and then you got a quarterback who has some experience, who has an opportunity to shine. Remember, he's got his home crowd going for him, which is a huge deal. But, like you said the other night on the show, you got to go with a guy like Tyler Van Dyke. I mean, he's got the experience. I think he kind of had his off moment last week. And that's the thing. It's almost like a blessing that Miami didn't play very well last week because of the fact that they worked on a lot of things. I mean, obviously they got to adjust without Restrepo, but, so be it. I mean, they have talent. They have enough talent in place with Brashard Smith. And then I think the thing that they've been holding back on is throwing to their tight ends more, because that gives them a huge advantage. They're really, whether it's Arroyo or Will, it's a huge matchup advantage for Miami. Both of them are physical. Both of them can catch the ball. Both of them can run. And I think you're going to see a lot of that. Plus, Miami's got to establish a running game. They have running backs. We know that. Parrish is a big-time back. And we know that when Knighton gets full and gets up to speed, he's going to be that same way. And then the real part that they don't have is a power back like Thad Franklin. And to me, when Miami gets in those tough yardage situations or down near the goal line, they're going to call his number, and rightfully so. He's done real well in the first two games, albeit it's a Southern Mississippi and Bethune-Cookman. But, Jazz, I'll tell you what, Miami has to come, just like I said, they have to come out and make no mistakes. A&M has a huge advantage anyway. You don't want to give them and compound the advantage that they already have. You can't put the ball on the ground. You can't throw interceptions. You can't make big plays and then look on the field and there's a flag. So those are the keys to winning this game tonight. And A&M, like I said, they have the experience. They have everything in their corner tonight. But the only difference when you were kind of comparing them to Miami to Appalachian State, they ho-hummed Appalachian State. They've been sky high for this game. So they're on national TV. Last week, not so much. They were on a regional basis because they were playing. But this is where everybody in the world's going to be watching them. And I'm sure Jimbo Fisher's getting in their ear every single day since then, trying to say, listen, there's no way possible we could look like last week, because if we do, Miami will kick us around. And I think he's kind of put the flare out already.
Well, I'll tell you this, right? For everything that they do have in their corner, right? They've got the home field advantage. They've got the 102,000 at Kyle Field. They're coming off, like you said, a bad loss, but they're motivated. They're up for this game as opposed to what they were doing against App State, I'm sure. There's still some turmoil, right? There's still some things going on in that Texas A&M locker room off the field now. We, at this point, I think everybody knows the breaking news with Evan Stewart being suspended. We're not sure if it's only for the first half or if it's the whole game. But you've got Evan Stewart suspended. You've got a couple other guys, including Denver Harris, another big-time cornerback who's set to make the start today as well. The other kid is Bowie and another kid. I'm not sure. I forgot the name now. But so 4 big players for Texas A&M are now not going to be available for this game. Big question mark for me. The biggest loss is going to be Evan Stewart, who is their phenom freshman wide receiver, along with Yokeith Brown and a couple of other guys there. So now the question is, not only is Miami missing their top receiver, but I think Texas A&M's top receiver might be Evan Stewart as well, as far as talent is concerned. But they do have other guys there, like Yokeith Brown. They've got Devin Achane is their big-time running back, who all he needs is one cut. You miss a tackle, he's gone. Nobody's going to catch him. But you also have Anais Smith, right? A lot of talent there still at Texas A&M. However, Evan Stewart might be their big play guy as well. Is that a cause for concern for Texas A&M on offense? And then on the other side of the football, Denver Harris was going to make apparently a start today against Miami as well. Is suspended or is ruled out of this game one way or the other. We won't speculate on what exactly happened, but it seems like this is something that stemmed from about a week ago. Not sure if it was only last night or what the issue was. However, big loss for Texas A&M on that side. So now you've got 2 teams that are losing some of their top players for this game. Is that a cause for concern for Texas A&M?
Well, here's the one thing. On offense, Miami needs to tackle. So like you said, if the kid Achane, and I watched enough of him to know that, he gets out in the open and you can put 6 on the board because he's got a lot of speed. He's replacing Spiller, who is pretty darn good himself. They have a lot of talent up front. They're big up front. And it worries me a little bit with Miami's front 7. Miami's front 7 played real good last week, and they played real good in the first 2 games. So to me, that's a plus. But the talent level, the speed, the experience ups 1,000,000,000% tonight. And that's one of the concerns. They've got to hit They got to stop the running game right off the bat, because if they start running, everyone, they can't crowd the box and they can't stop him. So everybody's going to be back on their heels. And this quarterback, who doesn't have a whole lot of experience, especially with A&M, he'll feel a whole lot better. You got to harass him. You got to blitz once in a while. You got to cover up your blitzes, though, because you don't want to get stuck with, a receiver or a slot kid getting the ball over the middle and then going the distance because that hole's empty because someone blitzed. But you got to be smart with your blitzes. I think from a defensive standpoint, Miami everything's going to be predicated on what happens in the front seven, the corners, the safeties, everybody else, and in the secondary will play off what happens up front. Miami's got to have a huge game, and even if they have to bring in, Nigel Kelly, because he's shown that he could rush the passer, and they definitely got to get some production. A Lichtenstein who's got experience. But they definitely have to control the front seven to be successful. If not, it could be a long night. So that's what they want to do. If you could stop the run, and then the front seven could tackle, especially in linebackers. Corey Flagg's coming home. It's a big game for him. This is the first game he's getting an opportunity to play in front of a lot of his family and friends live. So if that gears him up, maybe the rest of the team will feed off of him. James Williams could be very vital here too, especially the fact that whether he plays in the box or he plays the normal safety position, I mean, they need him. They need his length. They need his ability, his ball hawking ability. Miami's got to cause turnovers. And if they cause turnovers, Jazz, then they'll be right in the game.
Yeah, it's funny, right? The theme is definitely on defense. You've got to be able to stop this Texas A&M offense.
Right.
On the other side of the football, though, the Miami Hurricane offense is going to be without Xavier Restrepo today, so that is a big blow. However, there's so many different matchups, so many different things that we can kind of key on for this game. You've got TVD in a huge, big-time game, big-time environment against, a really, really good Texas A&M team. Who is going to be his guy now that Restrepo is out, right? Number one. Number two, you've got the offensive line who's starting to put things together a little bit.
Right.
They did have some mistakes last week, but they cleaned that up. It wasn't a matter of them getting beat off the line, which is good. It was just a matter of some assignments that they missed, so they can clean that up. I think that's pretty easy to do. The question I have for you is there's a lot of different matchups that we can look at this tonight and be like, okay, I want to see how this one is. I want to see how the wide receivers do against the corners, how the trenches are. What's your matchup, whether it's players, whether it's position, that you're looking at the most that could be kind of like the breaker, right? What is the one key matchup that you can see that could be the difference or the deciding factor in this football game?
The trenches on both sides, because remember, that's where it all begins. How does Miami protect? How do they open up some holes so at least, the running game gets some daylight? How do they protect for, the passing game? Obviously, somebody like a Restrepo's a go-to guy in a lot of those situations, maybe a safety, a little valve to throw to. Brashard Smith's going to have to get on that same page. On the defensive side, same thing. If you let your safeties and your corners and you give too much time to A&M and you don't get a pass rush and you don't get some, you gotta win the battles up front, because it's basic football, I know, and it's kind of rhetoric to say that, but it's in this game tonight, it probably will play as true as it ever will, especially so far this year. Because I don't think Miami had to control the lines of scrimmage against Bethune in Southern Mississippi to win the game necessarily. But tonight they have to. And if they get beat up front, then they're not going to win. It's just that plain and simple. So that's where to me, that's the keys. That's where Miami has to come out. They got to win the battles. They're not going to win every battle, but they've got to come out on top. And again, no mistakes, no penalties, no turnovers. And if you do, then you're just playing into their hands and you're playing into their crowd's hands. So to me, to answer your question, matchup, both sides of the line of scrimmage, you got to win those battles.
Yeah, if I had to choose another matchup, because obviously I think I'm with you. I agree. It's a battle in the trenches. You win the battle in the trenches, you win this football game. I think the second one is going to be those wide receivers of Miami, who are now, again, without Xavier Restrepo. Not only the wide receivers, but the pass catchers, right? Whether it's the tight ends, whether it's the wide receivers, against that secondary, who is one of the top secondaries in the country, right? The Texas
Yeah.
A&M secondary. I want to see the matchups there. Can they get behind the safeties? Can they get behind their corners? Can they make plays when coverage is tight, right? Can they just go up and get those 50-50 balls? I think that's going to be really key when, there's a tough play, a third and long, or if there's a tough set of yards that you need to get, whether it's third and short, third and 5, whatever the case is, can somebody come up big and make big catches to either seal the deal or to kind of win a football game, right? Because at the end of the day, we know that matchup is going to be key. If you can't get the running game going, you gotta start passing all day. I think that'll be an issue, but at the same time, you got to be able to make plays in the air. You got to be able to take some chances down the field. So I'm intrigued as to see how that matchup kind of comes to fruition. Is it going to be Miami being able to get open and make those plays, or are they going to be able to shut down that wide receiver core and the tight ends as well? So I think that both of those are interesting matches, but definitely the trenches. I have to agree with you, Blue, is going to be the most interesting because Texas A&M has a really, really good front four, right? Their defensive line is strong, but they're also young. And we've noticed, and we saw what App State was able to do, whether it's a fluke thing or not, they were able to run the ball last week against a young line, a very good line, but a young line. So if you can establish that run in the trenches, I think it's definitely a recipe for success against Texas A&M. At this point, I think I definitely want to get your key to the game. What's your number one key to getting a victory against Texas A&M tonight?
Okay, well, I kind of illustrated it a couple of times. The keys are definitely going to be controlling the ball, not turning things over, because you know as well as I do, Jazz, if they turn the ball over and give A&M a short field, they're just handing them the game. I mean, that's just, and it's not just this game, any game. You have to limit the turnovers, and you can't, if you make a big play, you can't look back and say, oh, geez, we got a holding or we had a stupid motion, or they've got to play. And I know it's kind of like unrealistic, but they're not going to play perfect football. It's just not in the cards. It's not in the cards for a lot of teams to play perfect football. Even the Georgias and the Clemsons and the Alabamas don't always play perfect football. But in Miami's case, if you do something positive, don't ruin it. Don't ruin it with a stupid block in the back or something that's going to call that play back. Because if you remember a couple of years ago, some of Will Mallory's best plays, touchdown plays, were called back because of just stupidity, emotion, or somebody or something way away from the play that happened, or a personal foul, and that just can't be. And as we watch the game tonight, those things are going to play in everybody's mind. Motion, anything that's going to impede Miami from getting things together. They need to, and I'm not saying they have to score every time they have the ball. They got to take some air out of it too. The more that they have the ball and controlling the ball, and I think Miami has the ability to do that because they've got a quarterback who's intelligent and makes good reads. They have a running game that, especially, I don't think people realize how valuable Parrish is. He's a guy that was SEC worthy last year to get 850 yards at the SEC level as a freshman. So he can make things happen. I'm worrisome which wide receiver wants to step up. It's not like we don't have them. I think Redding is more than capable. Burchard's more than capable. Not so, we're not sold on Jacoby George, but you never know what happens in a game like this. This is the games where you know what you have, because whoever steps up tonight, that down the road, North Carolina, Clemson, any of the games coming up, that you're going to be able to rely on them. And if you look back at last night's FSU game in Louisville, FSU receivers stepped up when it counted, and that's what has to happen. You're on the road. They were in a hostile environment. And without their starting quarterback, Travis. So that's what I'm trying to say. Miami has to play up and beyond. The key to me is no turnovers and no mistakes. If you make them at midfield. Just don't make them deep in your own territory because you're just handing them the game.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I couldn't have said it better myself. Here's what I will mention. Again, the run game. Establish the run. Control the clock. As cliche as all that sounds, it's the key to success. It's the key to winning big football games against really good teams. You've got to establish the run. You've got to punch them in the nose, early. And you've got to control that clock, and you've got to be able to wear them down. I think that if you can wear them down, if you can get to the fourth quarter and you can get Fab Franklin in and control the clock and beat them down a little bit, I think you've got a good chance to win this game. I will say this. Blue, I so agree with you that TVD has to have a monster game and not turn the ball over. That is so important for this game. So I think you got a shot, Blue. Last but not least, let's remind everybody about our predictions for tonight. Blue, what do you got?
I think when we went off the air, I think I said it was going to be 34-31, Miami winning it on a field goal by Borregales.
That's right. You did say Borregales is going to win it. So 34-31. I got 30-26. I'm going to stick to that score. I've already said it on three other shows. So I might as well stick with it, though.
So how's the?
I think Miami pulled it off.
How's the watch party over there? They have enough people yet?
Oh, it's awesome. This place is crazy. I don't know if you've ever been here, but you've got all these restaurants. You've got all this stuff going on back here. Here is a theater here. It's on the second floor. It's actually actual theater room, so you've got a huge big screen. I would go in there, but I'm going to lose you because the reception is so bad.
That's okay. That's okay.
But yeah, all some of the Kings fans are coming in here and getting ready for this game. So it's pretty exciting. It's going to be fun to watch it on that big screen there, and hopefully we come out on top. So this is a lot more fun night when the game is over. But yeah, it's electric. As you all saw, Kyle Field is crazy already. His Vish is over there. God knows how many how low his faculties are already. So
yeah,
but we love him kind of chiming in really quick there. Blue, I think that we'll definitely have something for you guys on Monday after the game. Yeah. But keep it locked here, always on the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel and on the 6 Rings Kings. This was the the pregame show for Miami Hurricanes versus Texas A&M, which starts in about 18 minutes.
Yeah.
So make sure you guys keep it locked on Twitter at 6 Rings Kings as well. We'll have Danny Gillette live tweeting the game as well. So make sure you guys keep it locked for those of you that aren't able to watch the game. Keep it locked on there for up to the minute updates, and hopefully the Kings come out and kick some butt. So
no doubt. Get some video inside and then post it later of what the party looked like. Because if we're ever on the road again, maybe we could slide down there and be with you a little bit.
Absolutely.
And thanks, Manny, too, for stepping up.
Yes.
We need. Yeah.
Big shout out.
He's the man. He's the man. All right, Jazz, enjoy it. Go Canes.
Go Canes. See you guys.